What's up, family? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reading out of our book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Let's go.
What are you doing? You trying to take a nap and I'm bugging you, Ma?
What's over there? So this book right here, extremely important. I'm actually creating a little playlist inside of my YouTube playlist for this set of videos in particular to this book, because eventually, once we complete the entire book together, you, anyone else watching out there in the YouTube world, the World Wide Web world, will be able to click on that one playlist and be able to read along with me this entire book that has changed every aspect of how I think. So let's go into it. Last time we ended, know how I do this. I like to end or begin with the last sentence and then roll right back into what we were doing. If you have not watched the first two, this is part 3, okay? We're in chapter 1, but this is part 3. So make sure that you just go and watch the other 2 videos. They're really not that long and they get over with very quickly. You're an adult though, so if you take anything from this, make sure that you know you're reaping any type of consequences that come with it, just like I did. Just like anyone else who wrote this book, including the author. Anyone else who read this book, including the author. What we ended on last time was to try to avoid pain is to give too many fucks about pain. And in contrast, if you're able to not give a fuck about the pain, you become unstoppable. In my life, I have given a fuck about many things. I've also not given a fuck about many things. And like the road not taken, it was the fucks not given that made all the difference. Chances are you know somebody in your life who at one time or another did not give a fuck and then went on to accomplish amazing feats. Perhaps there was a time in your own life when you simply didn't give a fuck and excelled to some extraordinary height. For myself, quitting my day job in my finance industry after only 6 weeks to start an internet business ranks pretty high up there in my own didn't give a fuck Hall of Fame. Same with deciding to sell most of my possessions and move to South America. Fucks given? None. Just went and did it. These moments of non-fuckery are the moments that define our lives. The major switch in careers, the spontaneous choice to drop out of college and join a rock band, the decision to finally dump that deadbeat boyfriend who you caught wearing your pantyhose a little too much. To not give a fuck is to stare down life's most terrifying and difficult challenges and still take some action. While not giving a fuck may seem simple on the surface, it's a whole new bag of burritos under the hood. I don't even know what that sentence means, but I don't give a fuck. A bag of burritos sounds awesome, so let's just go with it. Most of us struggle throughout our lives by giving too many fucks in situations where fucks do not deserve to be given. We give too many fucks about the rude gas station attendant who gave us our change in nickels. We give too many fucks when a show we liked is canceled on TV. We give too many fucks when our coworkers don't bother asking us about our awesome ass weekend. Meanwhile, our credit cards are maxed out, our dog hates us, Junior is snorting meth in the bathroom. Yet we're getting pissed off about nickels and everybody loves Raymond. Look, this is how it works. You're gonna die one day. I know it's kind of obvious, but I just wanted to remind you in case you'd forgotten. You and everyone you know are going to be dead soon. And in that short amount of time, between here and there, you have a limited amount of fucks to give. Very, very few in fact. And if you go around giving a fuck about everything and everyone without conscious thought or choice, well then you're going to get fucked. You couldn't see my hip. Get fucked. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna read that again. If you go around giving a fuck about everything and everyone without conscious thought or choice, well then you're gonna get fucked. There's a subtle art to not giving a fuck. And though the concept may sound ridiculous, and I may sound like an asshole, what I'm talking about here is essentially learning how to focus and prioritize your thoughts effectively. How to pick and choose what matters to you and what does not matter to you based on finely honed personal values. This is incredibly difficult. It takes a lifetime of practice and discipline to achieve this. And you will regularly fail. Very, very true. But it is perhaps the most worthy struggle one can undertake in one's life. It is perhaps the only struggle in one's life. Because when you give too many fucks, when you give a fuck about everyone and everything, you will feel that you're perpetually entitled to be comfortable and happy at all times. That everything is supposed to be just exactly the fucking way you want it to be. This is a sickness, and it will eat you alive. You see, you will see that every adversity has an injustice, and every challenge as a failure, every inconvenience as a personal slight, and every disagreement as a betrayal. You will be confined to your own petty, skull-sized hell, burning with entitlement and bluster, running circles around your very own personal feedback loop from hell, in constant motion, yet arriving nowhere. Honestly, I want to read that whole piece again. That piece needs to be taken extremely seriously, but not so seriously at the same time. We'll see. This is a sickness. When you give a fuck about everyone and everything, you will feel that you're perpetually entitled to be comfortable and happy at all times. That everything is supposed to be just exactly the way you want it to be. You'll see every adversity as an injustice, every challenge as a failure, and every inconvenience as a personal slight, every disagreement as a betrayal. You'll be confined to your own petty, skull-sized hell, burning with entitlement and bluster, running circles around your very own personal feedback loop from hell, in constant motion, yet arriving zero-where. I'm not stopping, I'm just checking the time. Okay, we're good. All right, now this is going to be the end of the chapter, I believe, at least a piece of it. So the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Remember I showed you how it broke down, okay? So we just ended the last portion, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Now he goes into the art of what the book is about. When most people envision giving no fucks whatsoever, they imagine a kind of indifference to everything, a calm that weathers all storms. They imagine and aspire to be a person who's shaken by nothing and caves into no one. There's a name for a person who finds no emotion or meaning in anything: a psychopath. Why you would want to emulate a psychopath, I have no fucking clue. So what does not giving a fuck mean? Let's look at 3 subtleties that can help you clarify the matter. Before I go into it, family, we're gonna just talk about subtlety number 1 today, and I'll title the video that so that you know where to find it. So subtlety number 1, not giving a fuck does not mean being indifferent. It means being comfortable with being different. Big, big, big difference here. Okay? Let's be clear. There's absolutely nothing admirable or confident about indifference. People who are indifferent are lame and scared. They're couch potatoes and internet trolls. In fact, indifferent people often attempt to be indifferent because in reality, they give too many fucks. They give a fuck about what everyone thinks of their hair, so they never bother washing or combing it. They give a fuck about what everyone thinks of their ideas, so they hide behind sarcasm and self-righteous snark. They're afraid to let anyone get close to them, so they imagine themselves as some special, unique snowflake who has problems that no one else could ever understand. Indifferent people are really afraid of the world and the repercussions of their own choices. That's why they don't make any meaningful choices. They hide in a gray, emotionalist pit of their own making, self-absorbed, self-pitying, perpetually distracting themselves from this unfortunate thing and demanding their time and energy called life. Because here's the sneaky truth about life. There's no such thing as not giving a fuck. You must give a fuck about something. It's part of our biology to always care about something and therefore to always give a fuck. The question then is, what do we give a fuck about? What are we choosing to give a fuck about? And how can we not give a fuck about what ultimately does not matter? My mother was recently screwed out of a large chunk of money by a close friend of hers. Had I been indifferent, I would have shrugged my shoulders, sipped my mocha, and downloaded another season of The Wire. Sorry, Mom. But instead, I was indignant. I was pissed off. I said, no, screw that, Mom. We're gonna lower the fuck up and go after this asshole. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. I will ruin this guy's life if I have to. This illustrates the first subtlety of not giving a fuck. When we say, damn, watch out, Mark Manson just don't give a fuck, we don't mean that Mark Manson doesn't care about anything. On the contrary, On the contrary, we mean that Mark Manson doesn't care about adversity in the face of his goals. He doesn't care about pissing off some people to do what he feels is right, important, or noble. This is what I teach you guys all the time. This is exactly what I talk to you guys about all the time, right here. Okay? Not giving a fuck if you piss off somebody or upset someone just because you're speaking the truth and something has affected you in a way that now you have to take action on it. Okay? We mean that Mark Manson is the type of guy who would write about himself in third person just because he thought it was the right thing to do. He just doesn't give a fuck. This is what's so admirable. No, not me, dumbass. The overcoming adversity stuff. The willingness to be different, an outcast, a pariah, all for the sake of one's own values. The willingness to stare failure in the face and shove your middle finger back at it. The people who don't give a fuck about adversity or failure or embarrassing themselves or shitting the bed a few times. The people who just laugh and then do what they believe in anyway because they know it's right. They know it's more important than they are, more important than their own feelings and their own pride and their own ego. They say fuck it, not to everything in life, but rather to everything unimportant in life. They reserve their fucks for what truly matters. Friends, family, purpose, burritos. And the occasional lawsuit or two. And because of that, they reserve their fucks for only the big things that matter. People give a fuck about them in return. Because here's another sneaky truth about life. You can't be an important and life-changing presence for some people without also being a joke and an embarrassment to others. You just can't. Because there's no such thing of lack of adversity. It does not exist. It's one of the universal laws, by the way. The old saying goes that no matter where you are, there you are. Well, the same thing is true for adversity and failure. No matter where you go, there's a 500-pound load of shit waiting for you. And that's perfectly fine. The point is not to get away from the shit. The point is to find the shit you enjoy dealing with. And we'll conclude it here. Let me mark the page for you guys. And next time we'll get into subtlety number 2. A quick recap on this. The 2 main takeaways, I don't know what you took away from it. Take away what you will. But the 2 main takeaways that I took from it, when I first read it, second read it, third read it, and now fourth read it, are we can never escape the shit that we have to endure to achieve something. And then we also can never really avoid not giving a shit. We can never avoid giving a fuck about something. There's always something that we care about, right? I care about my pets. I care about my family. I care about my wife. I care about food, things like that. However, when you start to introduce this type of idea into your mind, you will fill in the gaps, right? And you'll start to delete shit off of your give a fuck page. Like for me, recording video, I had to delete that shit off of my category of giving a fuck. I don't care. Sometimes I come on here and I get dressed up on purpose. Sometimes I come on here and I don't give a shit what I'm wearing at all because I just want the content to be out there. So what's more important here, the content or how I look? To you, they may be equally important. But to me, it's the content and the delivery that are the most important. So what is your takeaway from this? What in the world is your favorite part about this entire reading? What's stuck in your mind? What kept repeating over and over and over that you just could not get out of your head? You're like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Comment below, like, share, subscribe. You know how it goes. And I'll see you on the next video, fam. Love you.